It's probably a good idea to print that out and keep it in your notes. I'm going to open it here in a new window. What this is this is a summary of inference procedures for everything that we can do with SPSS that we're going to do in this class. So it's inference procedures starting with single mean. It has two means. It then has paired differences. It also has chi-square regression analysis of variance. So it just tells us how to do each of these. It goes in here first and it describes the data set. This is very similar to the data set that's in your textbook for UC Davis. I wish Dr. Antiano would use the same data set, but this is slightly different. Each section, this first section is the only one I want you to work on today, so this is all you need to work on is just this first section. I'm going to want you to go through this first section and reproduce the results that they have here using this data set. This first section, each one starts out with something very similar to our table, where it tells us that we're working with a t-test. It's a single quantitative variable. It describes the confidence interval for this context. It tells us what the null hypothesis would be. It tells us what our assumptions are going to be. And notice here, the assumption here is that x bar is approximately normal. X bar approximately normal is our two conditions for a large enough sample. So if we're sampling from a normal population, then it is approximately normal. If we're sampling from a population and have a large enough sample, or greater than 30, then it will be normal. So that's essentially what this is saying here. This is our test statistic. Again, we'll talk about that on Monday. We're going to let SPSS calculate it for us. And it tells us the procedures we've used for confidence interval and for hypothesis test. But actually, the confidence interval is actually done here in the hypothesis test as well. So when we go through this, you'll get both the confidence interval and the information for the test. It gives you a little review on how to set up, how to read t-tables, and how to come up with the correct tail for your p-values. It then states a claim for this section. So the claim for a situation that would be a single mean case is something like this one here, where we're saying that the population mean U, GPA, is 2.5. So our null hypothesis is that mu is equal to 2.5. Our alternative hypothesis is that mu is not equal to 2.5. Okay? So we'll talk more about that on Monday, but that's essentially what we'll have for a simple hypothesis in this case. It then goes through and describes the steps to take to set this up. The variable that you're looking for is called GPA. It talks about test value. The test value is being set to mu. The null hypothesis says that mu is equal to 2.5. So when it says to set the test value is 2.5. You should then get something very similar to this right here. This gives us our statistics, the number in the sample, the mean, the standard deviation, standard error mean. It gives us the t-value. This is the t-statistic that we'll calculate on Monday. It tells us degrees of freedom. Again, we'll talk about this on Monday. Right here, this two-tailed significance is the p-value for a two-tailed test of this hypothesis. So this right here is your p-value. You don't have to look anything up in tables. It'll actually calculate the p-value for you, and then we can simply compare that to 0.05. And then it gives you a confidence interval for the values here. This is a confidence interval for the value of the x bar. So you're going to get the confidence interval here of 0.3235 and 0.5071. When we did this at the 1 o'clock, the numbers we're getting from the analysis are coming out usually one-digit difference in the last decimal place. And I'm not positive. I think what might be going on is that the numbers used when he ran the analysis to put into the document, there must have been a slight difference in one of the numbers or some of the data. And so we've got a very small difference in the values. So if you come up one digit off in the final decimal place, that's fine. It's exactly what it should be. So the last little bit of class, go ahead and reproduce this using SPSS. Ask questions about how to get everything set up. The whole idea here is that it's getting you back into doing some SPSS, and we'll start having SPSS procedures for everything we do through the rest of the semester.
like confused. You don't want to enter like presentation. You just
Yeah. Basically what I'm looking for is something that splits out of this and has to be research. So you send it to me, send me the file that's in the report. In Windows it's real easy to select the files and work them out.
Make sure I got this right. Like the graphing, put like statistics in each graph, and find each graph, and put the result on each graph, like what's the graph means, like the result.
Some people will put the results out of
I thought it was better to see, like, you don't have to put them all punched together. Like, if you want to plug it into it,
right there,
it's all the time, like, a little bit, each time, right, like, big one, and then, but the description there, like, description, like, you want to do that as a group, okay.
These have to be a description of totally different planning. No expectation. So which one do you make? Tell me what I can do. And a lot of people are going
What do you actually?
the main thing is, I shouldn't have to say this. I shouldn't even look at that. You don't have to.
Okay, so I'm taking all those pretty good, right?
And you take a look at it. No presentation.
Oh, like it.
Or
Yeah, I
how
know.
it's presented.
I know, I got that. But the way it's done,
I need to reword that because
I know, I understand both ways. Okay, alright. Okay, is this all that you want?
that's all that you need to do. The whole point behind the SPSS work is to kind of get you back into SPSS and see what you're doing. From there, you can work on the project. You have enough time to do that. No, nothing to hand in today. The whole purpose behind this is to get you back into working with SPSS a little bit. Instead of waiting until we had a very difficult procedure to work with, I wanted to start with something real simple to get you back into it.
It's a little too simple.
I run into that.
So we just doing the first test?
You're just doing the first section. We'll go through the other sections as we go along.
Okay.
So
We have the table then.
you have the table, you're all set. And if you don't want to work on your project now, that's fine. I'm fine with people taking off at this point if they want to. But you do have time to work on project at this time too.